I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. It's Tuesday evening, the 3rd of December. Lister Center. Can I have roll call, please?
Scott Markey.
Here.
Susan Bedford is here. Elizabeth Skinner. Here. Mary Lynn Hickey. Here. There she is.
Perfect attendance.
She's very small. Rebecca McLeod. Greg Sheen.
Here.
And David O'Connell.
Here.
All right, can we review the minutes of the council meeting from November 19th? I'll take any additions or corrections and a common consent, if everything's okay. Everything okay? Common consent?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, we have a couple people before council. I just want to see.
I'm going to be for Hunter.
Oh, you're going to do Hunter?
Yes.
All right, why don't you go ahead and let's get Hunters, and then we'll bring Laura and them up for the annual report.
As you all know, the Bath Christmas Project does a lot of volunteer work in decorating the town of Bath. And each year they would like to recognize some of these people for the work that they donate their time and their efforts. So for the businesses this year, for the Angel Awards, we have the American Legion Post 60, the Moose Lodge 1483, and Sunny Smiles Dentistry. For the individuals, we'd like to thank Brenda Kane, Philip Creek, Brianna Ferris, Alison Howard, J.K. Hunter, Donnie Mason, Jody Mason, Jen Schechter, Mike Schechter, and Barbara Spillman.
Mike and Jen, are they the ones that live on South Washington Street?
I don't know, Greg.
No,
Have
they're,
property up from you that wanted the, I'm just trying to.
yeah, they're outside of town.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay,
They do a lot of goodwill projects.
we want to thank them for helping with the Bath Christmas project. Okay, and then we'll move on for the annual report with Laura Smith and Chris.
Yes, Laura's got to go to school board meeting. Did you want to say
Okay.
anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if y'all have any questions afterwards, please email me.
It's been a good year.
All right, have fun at the school board meeting.
Yeah, it's awards night, so it is a
Oh,
fun.
well, at least you're not getting,
There's only
all right.
two times a year that it's fun.
Oh, gosh, okay.
That's great. So, for any new council members, I'm Stephanie Reband. I'm president of Travel Berkeley Springs. Thank you all for your support and all the administrative work you do to collect the hotel motel tax funds, which 50% goes to tourism, Travel Berkeley Springs, to spend to promote us as a destination marketing organization. I'm just going to hit on some of the highlights over this past year. Laura sent out a packet, which I believe you all had a chance to review ahead of time. So if you have any questions, I don't typically brief off the packet because everybody can read. So, but just to give you stuff about the highlights. Some good things about this year. Most recently, the town of Bath let us move into the Welcome Center. The Train Depot is a Welcome Center. Thank you for the Train Depot committee who, for close to, I think, 2 decades, have restored that beautiful building, and we're now making it a great landmark and a place where everyone can see it and enjoy it. We have some great plans with it, which will be moving forward in the next 90 days, but right now we're just kind of moving and open right now. But it will be beautified. Some of the things we've done the last year, we brought on a local professional brand development and content manager, James Hersick from Hersick and Webster. In the packet, and I'll flash some slides just to show you some of the beautiful ads that he's done in the brand marketing. We developed outdoor recreation, specifically our mountain biking assets here in the area. We promote our TBS events. We enhance them greatly. January is the Wellness Festival. February is water tasting, and we're coming up on the 30th year of water tasting, so it's kind of a big deal. Then later on, we do the Hey Girlfriend Weekend in June. We support a number of other events in the area that are going on, and I think you'll see all of that kind of rev up. Like, let's take advantage and capitalize on what is already here and help those organizations and events do it. Some other things we've done is really focus on the local music and artistic talent that's here, the studio tours, the musicians, all the craftsmen and artisans that do work. And we added this Eventbrite software. It's been a game changer. So when you go to the berkeleysprings.com page, there's now an events page, but it captures everything within zip codes that we put in. So if the high school is doing a concert, it promotes that. And it also rewards our members who use social media or their website for marketing, because it promotes everything that gets on there and it loads it into the event software automatically. Before, it was phone calls and emails every week and exchanging information and ads. So it takes what they've already done and just promotes it. Other things that we've done is promote the local unique and hidden gems that we all love about Berkeley Springs and Morgan County. The overlook at Kicapin State Park, the panorama overlook, the Paw Paw Tunnel, live music, the vibrant arts community, our culinary talent, and of course our spa and wellness industry that we've been known for over 200 years, and our unique artisans and craftsmen. We've partnered with our community assets for just overall generational economic growth, with the EDA, Town of Bath, Paw Paw, the County Commission, MAC, and our state parks, and we've integrated them into our monthly meetings to have better partnerships. We did a series of welcome center signs, which the county let us use the land to support. Right now, they're south of town. As you're coming in, approaching Berkeley Springs, we have other plans to add more signage at the welcome center north of town and by Kicapin State Park. That's the next phase, and then we have some other plans for other phases too. We've really tried to capture great professional video and photography that elicits emotion, because that's what the big trend is in tourism and destination travel right now. That make a lasting, impactful impression where somebody sees it on a reel or a scroll and they want to come to Berkeley Springs. Promoting the area events, making sure we do great welcome messaging. Kicapin State Park does a number of great mountain biking events. So we captured that with banners. We partnered with local businesses to just have a great welcome message for anything that's going on in the community that we know about. Enhanced our social media presence, increased the budget for that. Advertising, Google ads on TV, DC Now and WDVM. We've done a number of targeted magazine articles, and we've done over 50 of them this year. We do sports advertising with the Nationals, Orioles, and Pittsburgh. And we want to empower our members. So we do ad grants. If they have a great idea, we'll sponsor up to $5,000 for the year. We have stipulations that they have to meet in the standard of excellence. We also have a festival and events grants because we want to encourage people to do things that they're passionate about in the area that represent Berkeley Springs and the area well. And we encourage businesses to co-op, and we have an ad grant for all of those things. We're working on our website to enhance the photography, the imagery, and do seasonal type themes and messages. We did a great holiday theme this year that I'm really anxious to see what the retailers' numbers will be after the messaging we did. Some things for 2025 that we're probably going to be working on together. Streetscape signage. We'll be coming back with a draft plan to ask for your support with that. I know we'll be working together to develop the Welcome Center in the North Lot. I think we really have to try to work with the state about signage, and I would love to paint, I call it Artist Row by the Ice House on the streets. I know they don't want any paint on the streets, but boy, that makes an impression when somebody goes to an artistic, vibrant community. Unique places. I think we're probably going to be working with the chamber. Apple butter, it's coming up on the 50th anniversary. We may need certain places in town to do an apple statue or whatever the theme is that we come up with. And the town owns a lot of key areas, so we'll probably be asking for your partnership with that. We're going to be working together to fill these Main Street properties that are empty that we need, and with the EDA. I think the challenge that we have for the next year is with growth. We have to continue to keep what we all love special about Berkeley Springs and balance the growth and the water assets. The wellness and water industry are huge for us. And if something were to happen to that with the growth, it would have a huge impact on tourism. But we're a $200 million industry for the county as a whole. Did you all have any questions that I can help answer?
Well, I want to tell you that the signs that you've put up so far, they're wonderful. They're nice little signs. But you know me, I'm a billboard person too, and I would love to see beautiful billboards like this with Town of Bath site. The country inn, the castle, the Fairfax Green. I would like people coming either way who have the option to get on that bypass now to think as they're driving up, I'm really cheating myself if I don't go through that little town, because look at these signs coming at me, this beautiful little town. It just seems, of course, I'm kind of town central. I have other property, but I'm town centric and with being on the council and all. But I'd love to see just and using beautiful things like the state of West Virginia is doing to really make people think that they're just cheating themselves if they don't drive through town. Because I'm afraid we're going to get hit with the bypass opening. No matter what, people are going to use Fairview Drive. That's what they're going to do, So we have to realize that in just as much as possible, because they're generally not driving down the road looking at their phone. They may have things planned, but plans change. And I've turned around many times in my life because I saw something that caught my attention like this. So I'd like to see us do that too. What we're doing is, moving forward, like all that, but I'd like to see
A couple good points with that. And I think tourism agrees. So the state, there's two different departments for the state for the signage. There's the outdoor advertising, which was pretty reasonable and easy to work with the signs because they were on private property that we did.
Yes.
The second part, which I've been in a fight with 9 months to get 2 signs, one before the roundabout and one before the bypass on Route 9 East, that says historic downtown Berkeley Springs. And I got told hell no 2 weeks ago. So I'm fighting that again. There are 2 people there that they're just difficult to deal with. I've talked to them about the logo package sign for the bypass. They won't even entertain it until the bypass is open. So I think it's a good point. We need signage there. As tourism, the plan we're kind of looking at and the board hasn't approved it is like lodging, dining, that the individual people can advertise themselves, and I will help get that information out to the community. And it's not cheap to do all of that. The way we've kind of circumvented it is I found private landowners that have let us put signage on there. That's a one-time hit for the sign development. We did not go with larger signs than what we had because it's a triple price bracket for the signs. We spent about $15,000 on the signs we did, and the one had the beautiful stone masonry in it right before the roundabout. And that was for installation, tree cutting, and everything. It's a process, but I think it's a good point. We have 2 billboards now. One is coming from Breezewood. That one runs about $600 a month. When you do a billboard, it's about a $400 to $600 package to get the artistry done on it. And then we have one as you approach 522. around the bowling alley area, just past it on the north end, and it runs about $400 a month. You're right. The trickery is you get a lot more bang for your buck with social media advertising, and you can target a specific market. Our day trippers have increased. I believe the billboards are effective, and it's a good point.
Yeah.
It's just trying to balance the cost, but we'll look at that.
Okay. All right. And we'll see.
Yep.
Steph, I have a couple things. So if we just to turn the clock back to the year ending June 30th, 2023, and in the notes, is this correct that the hotel motel for the county increased 100% from 23 to 24?
Yeah, and I think there was two things with that. So we worked with the county and state to get the collection fairly enforced, and that was the year it got in the beginning of January 2023. So all the people that were doing short-term rentals that didn't know they had to pay, and then the state shared the information with the municipalities and the county, so they knew who the lodging people were to collect it from. So I think it skewed data because of that.
And so it went from like one for the county, like 100, from 200,000 to 400,000 essentially in one single year.
Yeah.
And then the jump for the town was probably looking at the 32,000 to 50,000 approximately.
And you all have always done a great job of collecting. So, and I think it's too, I don't know the exact number, but the number of short-term rentals grew. I know before COVID in the beginning of 2020, it was less than 200. Today, it is somewhere between 700 and 900
Is it really?
in the county.
For Morgan County?
Yeah.
That many?
It's got to be looking at Airbnb, where the people do it and the numbers that are in there. So
It's amazing. There are people who live in their homes, move out. They have like an owner's thing, move out, and people come to different.
Do you know
That's
how
why-
many in town? Actually, the town.
I don't know. Do you probably have that for who's registered?
Right, Sandy would know that.
Sorry.
That's certainly just a fraction of that number for sure. I think it's probably up to about 40 or so. Between the bed, lodging and general. This is just as a category.
And it's growing. Paw. I mean, that area is growing.
So now if you're looking at the new fiscal year, what percentage are you saying as far as the growth on the hotel motel revenues from?
Yeah. So
versus
first
last
quarter of the way they do it. So it's on the fiscal year. So July 1st through September, it was up $30,000 in the. Laura's not here. I don't know if that was just county or overall revenue. Yeah.
Because it seems, now that we know, like, it's almost like the entire state of West Virginia is chasing tourism dollars. And it doesn't matter
Fair
where
point.
you go and everything we're looking at, we know that we're not just in competition with ourselves. Everybody wants a part of that. So I think your work's good. Congratulations, work well done. But I think your challenges aren't just the bypass. I think that there's just a shift where tourism is a leading industry and it's not a high margin industry.
And it's a leading industry because Governor Justice made it that way.
I totally agree. Yeah. Their messaging has been brilliant.
It's these pictures and the advertising we see.
We certainly can't identify as an IT community or anything else. I mean, we are a tourism-driven community, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that is our future. Our generational future is tied to tourism. I do have a question regarding the water tasting. So the water tasting is, and I should know this in attending a meeting. That's a Travel Berkeley Springs event.
Mhm.
Okay. So
It was started, 30 something years ago, because we didn't have any winter business. So they did a winter festival of the waters, which January was we used to call it spa fees because at the time nobody was comfortable going to spas, and it was to educate people about all that. And then water tasting and just trying to exploit what's already great in here, our waters. And then March was like History Month, George Washington bathtub celebration. We used to do a big event when John Douglas and Gene were alive at the museum, and they were the historians that would tell the story of the area, and it was great. It was like 2 all-day events that they would do.
So,
And of course, my one point that I bring up pretty often is Bath. How does Bath fit into the bigger picture of the marketing? Moving forward, so we can say, historic downtown Berkeley Springs ahead in signage. And kind of explain like your vision of that and your vision of how does the historic town of Bath fit?
Well, I think my first point, and it's a valid one, nobody knows that. They know Berkeley Springs.
Right.
So that's what we promote. I don't know specifically. I don't know that we've worked on that specifically because we've tried to do Berkeley Springs, and I'll tell you, we even include the C&O Canal and Hancock in Berkeley Springs advertising. Like, it's the greater area. And that's the way we've marketed it for 20 years. I get that you all are pro town of Bath. I think probably what we need to do with the marketing committee is look at exploiting the baths in Bath and figure that out and how we beautify an advertising campaign with all of that. But baths and spas would be my answer to that. How we do that, we got to work with the marketing committee.
If I can follow up on that same question. You talked about putting up a sign that you have a problem with, in which you were going to put historic Berkeley Springs. What would be the problem of that being the historic town of Bath? And
So-
being able to draw that distinction between Berkeley Springs and town of Bath.
It's just not out in the marketing. So we did put it on the area signs. Town of Bath is on there too. It's on the bottom and put it on there. I mean, we can put up historic Bath, but everybody's gonna,
I
what
wouldn't
is
say
it?
Bath.
Yeah, because they're not, it's not been marketed.
Yeah, it's not. So I don't, and so the state, what I asked for is probably not what we're gonna get anyway. And that's how the state is with their signage. I'll keep asking. We're happy to incorporate Bath where we
I
can.
wouldn't want to lose the Berkeley Springs part on the sign, and the size of it,
no, what you say
needs to be
is,
balanced.
what you say is, visit the historic town of Bath in Berkeley
In Berkeley Springs, that's what I'm saying.
Just, and you like, this is a special area within Berkeley Springs. If you just, I used to say I was the mayor of the town of Bath in Berkeley
Yep.
Springs.
Yep. Because
people
everybody says,
don't.
well, where's the town of Bath at?
And but
and-
here, like, within Berkeley Springs, this great area we're promoting already is this wonderful historic gem.
It is a gem as things change. I mean, we're certainly at an inflection point. We'll all talk about the growth and what's going to happen. And we don't want to completely, we will always be the town of Bath where it's it's a fact that exists. And I think at some point in time, it actually becomes a good marketing piece to build a campaign around your Berkeley Springs getaway starts in historic town of Bath, whatever that might be. Just as an example.
I want to see a billboard of the deep end with you guys standing out front at the front door opening it. I'd
Yeah.
like to see that.
Exploit what's special and unique about the town of Bath. I hear you. I'll work on it.
No, that's an issue. I mean, and right, it hasn't been marketed. I mean, a long time ago, that decision was made and has been compounded by the fact that no resources have been allocated to truly doing it. But as we evolve, we create our new website, which we're going to do. I just think everything's interdependent upon everything anyway. What's good for one is good for all.
I agree. We can all work together on that.
And this
We'll work
county,
together.
from one end of the county, from the Potomac down to the Virginia line, we are all dependent upon tourism. And we need to make
Your
sure that,
independent business people, get a little, we love the state park. We all love it. Some of us were out there last night. It's a wonderful asset and like that. But independent business people, let's say like Country and Pool Fun like that, there's always a little bit of aggravation in their heart that they're competing against the state of West Virginia and all this money. And the shops in the state park shops are competing against Mountain Laurel, so, I mean, it's good what they're doing. So our independent guys being lifted.
Bring them off out of it.
I just think everything can benefit. I don't think it's an either or situation at all. And I just.
How do we complement it? I got you. I hear you.
Small town, big, I mean, whatever it might be, people, the whole concept of a small town is becoming something that everybody's searching out. I mean, it's, you know, you talk about the emotional piece, they harken back to it, where the kids are riding their bikes under the trees and all those things that we envision in our own mind about what a small town looks like. And when those trucks finally leave 522 and you don't have a Walmart semi or Amazon semi, and you're dining al fresco, you've got a bike lane that connects you from the train depot down to the country inn, you got a healthier, more walkable, safer town. And it can just be a driver for everything. I need to spend one day in town, but see what this town of Bath thing's all about. So I'm not saying you take one thing away. I'm saying we add all things together.
Put it all together.
And I think one of the easiest thing is to get a designated photo spot where we have a sculpture of a bath or something that links it, you know, or a couple key places.
We have a
So
statue of a
something
young George Washington with his survey equipment pointing to the center of town,
Yeah.
whatever that historical piece is. And again, I think it just benefits everything and everyone, because there are people that are history buffs. So just, you know, food for thought going forward. And I know we could be
And you got anything else?
later.
Stephanie, so since you're looking at downrange and everything else, sesquicentennial is coming up in a year and a half, right? Or a year and then a little bit. Are you guys involved with leading? Is there an effort for that for our 250th birthday? Are you guys leading that? Is something the town should be forming a committee on?
It's not just the countries, it's the towns also.
Right.
So we need to bust out some moves here for the.
And that could be a year-long celebration. You know, the bathtub should be worn out, et cetera. And oh, by the way, there is a statue maker in Winchester who has already done a young George Washington with his survey equipment. There's one in Winchester. I drove past it the other day. It's wonderful. I've got his name and information. I haven't reached out to him yet to see what it would take for him to make another one.
Maybe the Morgan County Commissioners would buy one for us.
Right, put it right there in the park. But I think to support tourism, right? You know, for those of us that remember 1776 when we were a kid, that was awesome. That was a year-long party, right? And so the town can benefit from that national patriotism and get folks to bring it to here for that. But I do think that TBS has got to be somewhere involved. Remember, I'm the planner, so I'm kind of thinking out a little bit. But I do think that's something that we as a town with the supporting entities need to start gelling up how that's going to work.
The sign of the Declaration of Independence. I mean, these are really significant historical things that did happen, and we will never be Williamsburg.
Right.
We're always setting out to do that, but it would just kind of be another piece inside of the piece.
Yep.
Kind of was on what you have.
We can be as cool as we can be in history.
Could the town appoint a committee to work on that
Good.
in conjunction with
I think that's a
TBS?
great idea, Sue. I think that would be a committee, which, you know, as we're looking to build out our committee for One Track and Main Street and communications and the web and all those things that we have to tackle. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I know a few years ago I read where the Smithsonian used to bring a trailer around to different towns with different articles in there.
It's
Yeah,
the exhibition,
Yes.
exhibit buses
Exactly.
that I was talking about.
Yeah, we should just look at that.
Mhm.
No, it's good stuff, Steph. It really is. You guys do a great job. It's a lot of work that goes into it. There's satisfying every individual business and their needs.
we're adding more staff because we just, as volunteers,
I
you
know.
can't.
You
It's too
can't,
much.
you can't do it.
And when you have more than one,
Yeah, I saw that.
But what about, have you ever seen the statues in some towns, like, I know, like, mentioned I have, like, but, like, I know Punxsutawney has statues of, groundhogs.
Yeah.
What about, and I don't know how, I
Yeah.
think business, about for other businesses, but what about, you know, we had a lot of portfolios inside George Washington. What about we can see how much they cost?
Get what?
They're like statues. I think they're like top plastic, but I'm not sure, but they, like,
So I'm a big proponent of using the local artisans that we have.
Oh,
Like,
I-
I want to get and they can make it special. They
I'm
know
gonna
it's
make it
special.
special, yeah.
Let's use our local people.
Yeah.
We have great
Yeah,
metalworking
because we can
people.
advertise that as
yeah.
our local. And
And it put them, not just one, we put them in different areas of town,
Yeah.
like, and like, they have like,
there's all sorts of
I
stuff.
just think that would be neat.
Just gotta
I
get our
always
heads
direct people-
together, get everything.
I always direct people over, you know, on the placards, you know, it says the well-owned property in this town. I mean, it's,
Mhm.
and people, if you're a history buff, go up, it's amazing
who own different property in this town. So,
Yeah.
so I mean, we could get different forefathers oftentimes.
Yeah, and I think we pursue all those things. I saw one where there was a George Washington sitting on a park bench with his arm out and it becomes a photo
Yep.
location
Yeah.
essentially. Yep, and everybody gets their picture
And
taken.
every
with
media,
George.
and so many right, because so many artists, so I know it
Yeah.
could happen.
So there's-
And it could happen for the party in a year, you know, having that. So people
Whatever
come
that
up,
is.
yeah.
Well, thank you for volunteering, Scott.
I'm happy with that committee. I'm not-
Thanks, Sue. Everybody got-
Yeah, we're
20% done already. Congratulations.
Are the signs that are around town, TVS's signs, historic signs?
No, there would be historic societies.
No,
The ones on buildings.
No, not those, the ones, the flat ones, the tilted ones that have.
Laura knows. I don't know if they're landmark or the historic landmark, right? I think who does those.
They're all like made of.
Yeah,
Historic
very.
and genealogical,
Yes.
they're in the Historic and Genealogical Society is in the process of identifying the ones that need to be redone, and they are working on
I'm
that.
not talking about the ones on buildings.
I'm
the
not,
building
I'm not
The ones you
talking-
walk up to.
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm
know-
talking
Laura's on some committee with it. They've replaced a number of them this year. They're quite expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know what, I want to say they're like 5,000. I don't know. It's some ridiculous
No.
number. what they are.
They're
So
not the Heritage Trail, are they?
part of them are, so it's all linked.
Some of them are Civil War trail.
Right.
Right.
So-
Okay, I'll
which
take
is
that
with the
back.
Barstow one that I'm.
Yeah,
looking
the
at.
other two.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Very good.
All right, Steph is.
Take stuff off the seat.
Yeah.
If anybody wants
You
to
may
follow up
step
in the area.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks. Thank you,
You may
Steph.
step down.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
This is
Yeah.
like a witness here on.
Well
the
done,
stand.
Steph.
You may
Really.
step down.
Really appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah, Get in there for another term.
Hector said he left the key, I guess, in my hanging on.
Oh, heck, that makes it easy. Okay.
I'll find out. If not,
Got
I'll
a little
text you.
small town.
All right. All right, well, we're gonna move along. Thank you very much, Stephanie, and
Thank
everything
you.
that you do, and thank Laura down there for us too. All right, communications from Mayor. We got a few announcements. We have the start of the holiday season. Of course, the Deck the Meters started this weekend. There is I don't know how many, probably 15 of them I've seen that are probably decorated, maybe a little bit more. I've seen a couple other ones go up since I left town this morning. So that's coming along. We got the Cocoa Crawl is going to be this Friday night from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then on Saturday we got the Winterfest parade from 5 p.m. So come out and see the parade and the festivities and have a good time. And then on the 12th of this month, the Bath Christmas Market is going to be in full swing from the 12th to the 15th down in the parking lot there, gravel parking lot on Truist. So come out and see that. And then we have a Merry and Bright exhibit all month at the Ice House. So we got a lot of stuff going on in the next couple weeks that to usher in not only Christmas but to try to get that Christmas spirit. Hopefully everybody's getting into the act of having the Christmas spirit, and hopefully we can really have a good time this year. So
And speaking of announcements, I just talked about the Town of Bath anniversary coming up. The Town of Bath birthday is December the 6th. So it's coming up.
Write that down,
It'll be, yeah. It'll be our 248th, December 6th. Cocoa Crawl is also the birthday of the Town of Bath. That was the day the Virginia Assembly established the Town of Bath. So anyway, so that's.
Thank you for sharing that.
more history. So anyway, that's all I've got on announcements under communications and mayor. So we're going to move on down. The Bath Development Authority. Let's see You don't have anything, do you?
No, we are gonna meet tomorrow evening, and it's important that anybody who is interested in the Bath Development Authority, maybe Scott is, maybe Charlie and Sue are, and like that, we're going to try to reorganize a little bit and how we can work with the On Track project. Their meeting on Thursday at 4:30 here is On Track. And try to regroup, and we've got a lot going on. There's a lot we can regroup with. So I'll put that on the calendar tomorrow evening at 4:30 at the County Commission Courthouse.
Good deal. All right, Parks and Recs. I don't see anyone. We got a meeting on the 18th at 7 p.m. at the courthouse. Planning Commission.
Good evening. We continue on with our weekly working groups. Next week for our monthly meeting, we'll be meeting, as it says on here, Wednesday, the 11th at 3 p.m. We'll be talking about unfit buildings, and Mr. Mayor and Councilman Sheen, expect to see you there. Please tell me if you can't make it so we can adjust accordingly. In January on the agenda, we'll be meeting with Morgan County Fire Department and the Emergency Medical Services folks. We will be at the On Track meeting on Thursday as well. We'll have a representative on that with Brianna, and met today with the county planners. As we move forward, they also have a comprehensive plan requirement, and it's a similar timeline. They do theirs a little bit differently, but there is a lot of overlap in certain areas. For example, like I was talking to Rebecca, water coming in when you don't want it to is a big deal. That we're kind of at the end of what the county does for that. So we need to make sure that our plans are synced and understanding what they're doing, as well as, especially the time span we're talking about, 27 to 37, what water do we have to be going the other way to support development beyond our town proper, et cetera. So those are a couple of the initial areas we're working with the planners on, and we will begin to attend their monthly meetings kicking off next week. So that's what's going on in town planning. Any questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it. All right, Rails and Trails.
All right, there was some actual new news that I sent today. It's be on the website. The new news seems to be that I'll start with the Trailhead CDS project that got started some years ago, and it's been stealthily swimming around in the state somewhere. This came from Mark Schooler, who has generally followed what the town does with the grant requests and stuff like that. And it seems to have become real enough to have discussion with it. I don't know all the county, but Mark's been talking. And it appears more real than I think I've ever seen it. You know what CDS stands for, right? Congressionally Directed Spending. It's several years old. But it seems to have shifted into 80-20, which means the county's going to have to chip in funding if that's what happens. This is the project at the depot that starts to make the depot look like the videos and the pictures we've seen. The depot lot, the depot itself is a totally separate. It's like a separate country down there. There's its own funding and isn't beholden to things like this. He got something to show for me. So this will be interesting. I'm not sure why this ended up as a county project, but it just had to do with who's available to put in the request when the request was required. So that will have to be some exploration.
That is just so I understand that match is the county's responsibility.
Yeah, as of this point, if it's an 80-20, and I think it's following the transportation alternative type of approach, which is 80-20, the 20% of the company. Don't hold me to that.
The sponsor.
They're the sponsor. So that's what comes with being the sponsor. And it's interesting because it's quite a bit of money, but it's also quite a bit of match money. I'm not sure what the county was prepared.
So the total, what's the total?
It was up in the 720. $720,000 is the 100%. Or I'm not sure what that. I guess it was 100%.
That's the 100%. The county's on the county 120,000 change that.
So and that's over and above what the county has already paid for their share of the rail trail which is around 120,000.
It's just the bad news.
It's
just
interesting.
It's like.
That 20% need on the county, what kind of time frame would that be?
Beats me. I mean, you don't.
DOH.
Yeah,
it's DOH.
This is not hold your breath. And it is due to the state at the time the funding agreement is signed. And what Mark Schooler does is prepare funding agreements. That is what he's sort of doing here, to work his way through what's real, what is the number, and it easily make contact with the county. So I
So
think,
the county is aware.
well, I'm sorry, I don't know. You know Melanie? So I might.
To the grant specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if she's who you were talking with and you.
Not me.
You
This is
talked
Mark- this
about-
is all
You
from
just
Mark
talked
Schooler.
straight.
This is
You
why I
just
put
talked
it
to
in
the
quotes.
It says that he did.
You did, okay.
Yeah,
And
so
they're
this is very interesting. That the numbers showed up, the splitter showed up, and a real person in the county showed up.
That's fine.
Hey,
We shall see. That may be,
see
that
what
may
happens.
be a Christmas present or it's a start.
Or
It's the
lumber
first real start on this, which has got a lot of
That's
money.
just something.
And the second item there is, we constantly are trying to get the DOH to tell us what have they been inventing for the rail trail during the silent period. And this is not a good look. And they finally decided to talk to the district. And they kind of lost their champion for redesign of the bridges when Gary Braley left this part of the DOH and has gone someplace else, never to be heard of again.
Very busy.
I do not understand what
What
happened.
disappeared.
He just disappeared. They do a lot of proofing.
They changed buildings.
Yeah. All right. The fourth Wednesday, December is anybody?
Christmas.
Christmas?
Of course, we're not having.
Okay.
What I would like to do with Mark is see if I can get at least a sketchy written idea of what they're doing on the rail trail. Because I mean,
That'd be nice.
the county's 120,000 is still sitting down there in the district, probably not growing interest on anything. You can see how that is. And it would be nice to just know what they're doing. And Gary was a driver behind that. And we kind of lost. All right, anything else on rail trail? All right, you're all sort of tripping over what's going on with phase 5 construction. I tried to give you a last week and this week kind of thing. At least I know they put the foundation stuff on the sidewalks, we've got the trenches on the south side of Independence. Doug, this conduit didn't want to, I think they laid that out. I even think there's a junction box at the MDL. They've put in the forms for the slot grade out here, but no forms for the site. It's too cold. They're struggling to figure out how to meet the temperature requirements
It'll be warmer next week.
with how they mix the concrete. That I think they do 38, 40 degrees.
It said 35 is the minimum.
But you know, life in the daytime goes that way. But I don't know if they're going to be able to hold themselves to not having a shutdown during the winter. If the weather lets up, they will keep going. They do not want to shut down and have to come back. So, I don't know. I didn't.
It's in the 40s all next week
Did-
during the day.
I haven't had any feedback yet from them. We find out that area now it looks like it's already filled with the underlayment.
On Wilkes. but
No,
not
on
Independence.
Independence.
Right. So we're gonna talk to them.
Yeah, I don't know. I was aware just that.
Where's that conduit going?
The water superintendent asked if they could put in conduit so that if there were leaks in the future going to the houses, they wouldn't have to tear up the
Right, they
sidewalk.
went into the sidewalk, they could just feed it right through the conduit.
So I talked to the super on the streetscape and on Monday and, Rick is off on Mondays.
Right.
So he was going to talk to him first thing today and I haven't talked to him yet.
Josh White, rep from DOH was. today. So
So you can
talking
come to the
who
super.
knows what's going on.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'll get it straightened out.
It may be too late because
Possibly,
This
it's a
stuff-
low cost fix.
this stuff would be,
Right.
kind of would be buried at least 2 feet down, which is well under the sidewalk.
Right.
Yeah, and it's gotta have 2 ends that have to be accessible. It's a challenge.
So
Up in the flower beds.
the other question,
It's the sidewalk. It's across the sidewalk into the building
Oh,
from where the meter is, which is under the sidewalk. in the way. But it's a great idea with a great challenge.
yeah.
You'll see.
so what are they gonna do down there, across from Hunters there where we got that, because evidently they weren't aware that there was that garage there. I stopped the other day, that was gonna be completely closed off.
Oh, no. they
No,
had it
no,
had
no,
there.
that-
It was
they
on the design.
yeah,
They
The
were
guy
aware.
told me,
They
and I
were
said, whoa,
perfectly aware.
The guy was missing.
okay, yeah, because I,
Because Jeff Gola walked the site with Eric and
Right.
Josh and explained how do we do the apron and everything, and I will cut for curb back. So you
Right.
have a new parking space and still have a cherry tree.
right,
And so I'm not overly worried about that.
okay.
I will check.
The other thing I'm worried about, if they shut down Camp Fort Concrete, all that gravel there, I don't know, they're gonna have to keep an eye on it because it's a driveway to go into that garage.
Yeah, they know they have to keep it up.
Yeah. This one.
There's a sign. right
They've
on
got
the
one there now,
Yeah.
but he told me he wasn't, they were just gonna leave it.
Who did you talk
Who is
to?
he?
One of the guys that
There
was
is-
digging up the concrete
The
down
guy
there the
in
other
the
day.
equipment?
Yeah. And he told me, he says, oh, no, this isn't gonna, they weren't even gonna fill gravel in there. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, come
You
on.
didn't talk to Eric.
No, I
This
did
is a
not.
really big guy.
This guy was thin, kind of thin and, yeah. So,
I'll check.
but they
because
went
these
ahead
guys
and
have
put
been-
us so that she could get her
Yeah,
car.
they have
in.
It's designed to have a ramp.
They have been schooled on how to do it, not just as a ramp, how to fit it in with the,
And the ramps
existing
have to be
doors.
better or more reinforced concrete.
the ramps are 6 inches.
Right.
Sidewalks are. That's usually good.
I just wanted to make sure that we were.
Pete, if I can
Yeah.
ask,
I will catch
Yeah.
You don't wanna catch it.
I'm catching up with that.
if I can back you up on the discussion about putting the conduits in under the sidewalks. How was that breaking out? Who's planning to do the doing?
If it were to be done, it would be the water department.
The water department has to do it. Okay. When I just spoke to the superintendent, that was unclear on his part. I certainly encouraged him to do it.
Yeah, we can't.
I asked him about price. He
We-
said it would be minimal.
Yeah, we can't make it a mud.
And that's the second question. Even if the water company's doing it,
Yeah.
what does this do to the construction project in terms of any kind of cost changes?
Well, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. That discussion may have happened. I don't know that it has. And there's more digging. If they've already put the 4 inches of aggregate down underneath, you gotta go way down under that to where the water line is. So there's digging.
Right.
I mean, once it's in, I don't think it's a problem because it's so far below the sidewalk, but it's gotta get there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many, it's a society. It's the same number of meters that go in across that sidewalk.
Yeah.
The north side where Hunters is, we haven't touched that.
My only issue is I just don't want to upset the streetscape project
Me too.
from a cost. point of view.
Me too, but we let the folks, most of the folks talk to each other. And Josh Knight, who's the onsite rep from DOH, understands this is going on and what has to happen if it impacts first from this contract. And right now, I don't know. I'm not gonna venture in
They
this.
can't. We don't have any
That-
control. over it.
That's my key.
Yeah.
It's a great idea to
It's a
do,
great idea.
but
It's-
it shouldn't interfere.
Yeah, it can't. It's not that hard
But
to do yesterday or last week.
I'm glad
they
you
have to
brought
have a
it up
time when they're gonna
for-
go and do that work.
because we're doing design work now for Congress Street. So now we're prepared to make sure that that happens in the future.
And we still might be able to get it in on the north side of Independence.
If indeed it doesn't cost anything, one time.
Well, it's not for the contract to do, it's for the water
The
department
water
to do.
department, get in there first, yeah. The other thing is, and I'm talking to Jeff Rule about this, gotta fix the repair process for the concrete side. Right now, it's built to take out a whole 5-foot section, as opposed to saw cuts and take out a very narrow section. It's the problem of putting it back with some flexibility. So, yeah, but I'm talking to Jeff Rule. All right, the second thing is, woke up the DOH and they are sending us a funding agreement for the design task order. We already kind of agreed with Thrasher on the price, we're ready to go with that. But we're not gonna ask the mayor to sign it until we actually have funding agreement. So that, I have no idea why they didn't go with that. And following up on what Stephanie was talking about, streetscape committee is gonna sort of attack the whole lighting situation. First is how to do a phase 5 without DOH, which means the pricing is different such. And Jeff Duvallis will help us working on that. Jeff Goldman gave us some ideas on how to do that. It'll be a much lower price. Just don't know if it's affordable. Right? And then with the information, look at all the rest of the missing lights and see what's that up to. Are there alternative lighting fixtures that don't cost as much, that kind of might be acceptable, that aren't on the main street, for certain, that you can do for a local price, things like that. We'll open it up, figure out another way to do it. If the lighting company would like to come in and help us, stuff like that. We'll see. That's what's going to take a little while. If at the same time, we'll have another open grant season, possibly starting in January. The UH folks have already said, oh, that missing lighting, you need to just call that phase 7. We're prepared to do that, try to get drawings. We would probably submit another application just in case, or go another way. We have an either or task. And then finally, Sharon, I think with Rebecca, you talked, we got some input back from looks like the deputy inspector at DEP relative to the plan of action, the corrective action plan following the spill in the park. And they want 2 changes to our plan. One change is already written. Second change I got sorted out with Jeff this afternoon. We'll have a draft tomorrow. It's that easy. Nothing truly big content. Get that moving.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
Elon and the back, they're getting.
yeah, right.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Pete?
Yeah.
Thank you, Pete.
Great job.
Thanks.
Sit down. Nice step down.
Yeah, I gotta go.
All right. Well, be careful.
Yes.
All right. Train Depot.
Well, we just, nothing but good news down here right now. You know, the TBS is in and they seem to be adjusting well and they've set up shop. You can go in there and visit them and everything. We really don't have anything going on right now. I'm not having any meetings, but there are projects swimming in the back of my mind, of course, that I've shared with Travel Berkeley Springs and like this because I know they'd be interested. Things like street lighting out front that is streetscape lighting or comparable, historic signs out front so people can stop and history and like that. And I think they would be very amenable to anything that happens and helpful.
Good. All right. Landmarks Commission. See anybody first of the year we need to rest. Clerk and Recorder's report. Madam Clerk, do you have recorder?
No.
Madam Clerk? Okay. All right, we're gonna move on down to finance then. Let's pay some bills.
Okay. I make a motion that we pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $9,883.30.
Second. Have a motion and a second on the floor to pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $9,883.30. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
I make a motion that we pay the Berkeley Springs Waterworks bills in the amount of $48,054.58.
Second.
85 cents.
85,
50.
58.
Yeah. Okay. That's usually me. All right. I have a motion. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to pay the Berkeley Springs water bills amount of $48,054.85. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries.
I make a motion that we pay the hotel motel distribution in the amount of $89.39.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor to pay the hotel motel distribution in the amount of $89.39. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries.
I make a motion that we pay the Berkeley Springs Police Department CAC fund in the amount of $9,436.45. Sharon, you may have what CAC exactly means.
Child advocacy.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion second on the floor to pay the Berkeley Springs Police Department CAC fund in the amount of $9,436.45. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries.
Make a motion that we pay the tree board bills in the amount of $38.60.
Second.
I have a motion second on the floor to pay the tree board bills in the amount of $38.60. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries.
Make a motion that we pay the train depot bills in the amount of $41.75.
I have a motion and a second on the floor to pay the train depot bills in the amount of $41.75. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, we paid bills. So let's move on to tree board.
The tree board has begun the process of filling out the Tree City USA application. It's due the end of December. We're very close to having it done. Should be submitted within a week or so. And we get all the regalia saying we're a tree city, the signs at both ends of town. We get a couple of free trees at Arbor Day. But the big benefit of being a Tree City USA is we can't apply for any grants without it. So we should have that. Yes, we got the flag. That should be submitted well before the deadline. And we usually hear from the West Virginia Forester in January or February, and it's been March before we've heard anything from the national organization. And we're next meeting on the 18th of the month.
It's the 18th instead of the 9th. All right. Thank you.
Back up here, as far on the depot, and I do have some more of the Places magazine. There was a very nice article put in the At Home Places magazine about the depot, a 3-page article, lovely pictures, very well written story with the history. I've got some more of the magazines in the car. I'll bring them in, but it's nice to be advertised and recognized.
Okay, grant.
Kate, did the project with the $700 tree cutting and trimming get finished?
Mary, you there? Mary?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, we're at grant. All right.
So, just want to
shutting down, that I'm watching it online, so I'm shutting that down, so I'm not actually here. I have a few things to announce. The deadline for, applications for vendors to through our website was, November 25th. We have 6 applications being reviewed and another 3, pending as well. So the week of December 16th, Greg and I are going to review those and forward with interviewing applicants, 1 or more of them, to get that work started as soon as possible after the start of the year. The COPS grant was formally accepted. It was a process to do that online. Thank you, Greg and Sharon, for getting that taken care of. And now we are really in a timeline that, I mean, it's 5 years long, but where we decide when we are ready to start the recruitment process for another officer, and that salary will be covered 75% of it in 3 years by this grant. And then the only other thing that will be, I am going to the Region 9 meeting. I am the council's rep on that. That's happening next Monday, December 9th. And we may or may not, I'm still sort of exploring all of this, be working with Region 9, or possibly even EPA Region 3, or just applying on our own, or a combination of all those things, because water is everything that I'm going to be focused on as soon as we have that professional engineering report. I can do legwork for the grants that I'm looking to apply for, so that we are ready to just hit submit once that professional engineering report is completed. So that is the highest priority thing to do here. Last thing is our next meeting is next Monday, December 9th at 4:30, and that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on down to public safety. Chief, do you have anything?
Not this time, sir.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything for public safety that you remember that we think we included?
Yeah, pretty caught up.
Yeah, I think we're pretty caught up. So, all right, our next meeting is gonna be the 12th of December at 4:30 or 3 o'clock. I'm sorry. So, all right, let's move down to cemetery.
We were going to have, we are having a cemetery committee meeting next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. We're going to try to invite people from the Historic Society and some others that might be interested in helping us prioritize the needs of the cemetery, but some of the people that wanted to attend were not available that day. So we're going to push that public meeting off until January and have a regular cemetery committee meeting next Tuesday. It's the only question, Rebecca and Dave, do you want to do it at a regular 9 or keep it at the 10?
We do the 10, that's fine.
Okay. So that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Beth. All right, Public Works.
Public Works, we wrapped up the Chesapeake Bay Trust grant for the depot nature-based stormwater facility. It was a $55,400 grant, and we had about $10,000 in volunteer hours that contributed to its success, as well as some cash matches from the town. The handicap signs that have been requested from public safety will take up at the next meeting. And I thought the guys had painted the blue stripes along.
Well,
Refresh the paint.
what happened to me in court is if you read your code, the painting of the curb is an option. The signs are mandatory. I think there's one in town that, don't ask me where it is. There's one in town that's proper, right height. It's gotta be a minimum of 60 inches. Bottom sign. So it's in the code. I lost it. We lost the citation because of it. And it's very clearly written.
We'll check the code and make sure
Sure.
that the guys meet
Sure.
that when they install those.
Thank you.
I fought that battle in municipal court once and won. Yes, I did. So
You
I
fought the
know-
law.
I fought the law and I won.
Okay, anything else? Okay. All right, then we're gonna move on down to ordinance then.
Ordinance, an ordinance to create, well, a new ordinance created to deal with some of our parking issues in town regarding the creation of some businesses creating their own reserved parking spaces throughout the town. We're gonna have a parking permit system in place. We'll have a final draft of the ordinance available at our next ordinance meeting on 12/19. Also posted to the website was a reminder notice of the municipal sales and use tax, which is effective January 1 of 2025. The West Virginia State Tax Department oversees all aspects of the tax. So if you have any questions regarding that, you can visit the West Virginia sales and use tax on westvirginia.gov website. There's a link directly to that can answer all your questions. We're also doing a mailer to all businesses in town with the reminder notice that we're moving from 6% state tax plus the 1% municipal for a total of 7% tax. You'll see that reflected when you are doing your tax filings, and that just brings us up to par with the surrounding municipalities: Shepherdstown, Bolivar, Martinsburg, Morgantown, everyone, Paul. So that's effective January 1st of 2020. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna move down to waterworks.
Waterworks. Two things I want to report on. One, the U.S. Silica line, that things are moving to at least planning for a pressure test. So we're going to schedule that this week, meeting with U.S. Silica this Thursday. Second is that we're working to get the preliminary engineering report for the plant upgrades to see if we can move up our timeline to try to deliver for what the county commissioners would like for their ARPA money, to try to get the PER to be completed by the end of the year. So that's an issue that's in flux right now, but we're working towards that. And that's one more, that our meeting is not the following Wednesday, which would have been tomorrow. Unfortunately, we had to shift it back 1 week, so it's next Tuesday at 2 p.m. on the 10th.
All right. Okay, we come to the point in the meeting. Is there anything else that council members need to bring up? If not, I will open the floor up to anybody that wants to discuss anything. We have 3 minutes. I've lost our timer, so.
I just one question. I don't know if you guys been on social media, but there's been this big whole thing going on about what's the use of disinfectant water. Can we clarify exactly what we use, because it's been going on for a week and a half now?
Thank you, Scott, for bringing that up.
I just like
I even have to weigh in on that.
so we can just end this whole thing.
So there are two different disinfectants used. I'm sure nobody likes that idea that any disinfectant is used. Chlorine is one, and I believe it's called chloramite is the other one, which is basically a mix of chlorine and ammonia. Now, the person who was complaining about it, she's opposed to any the use of any kind of disinfectant, but she was presenting arguments about chloramite. We use chlorine, so just get the facts straight in terms of what you're complaining about. I'm sure, I believe that the individual would be opposed to chlorine as well as chloramite. It's just that she was presenting arguments that weren't related. That I believe there is one public utility water company that actually uses chloramite in West Virginia. It's certainly not us, that's all.
To make sure I understand, there are two potential disinfectants that can be used.
That is
Chloramite,
correct.
the chlorine. the Berkeley Springs Water Works uses only the
Chlorine. Yeah, you don't mix them up in
Okay.
that sense. Doesn't do you any good. The
Yeah.
one actually adds ammonia.
And that is state law. You have to do that. You
Yeah.
can't go around it. That is.
That is correct.
And if you want, our water supervisor had put out on the town website exactly what we have. So, you know, and how we process the water. So, hopefully that'll put this to rest.
I sit here every meeting, you see me with the red cup. It's got Berkeley Springs Water Works water out of the tap. I wouldn't drink anything else. So that's what I drink every.
Well, in any simple book, any filter will take the chlorine out of the water anyway.
You can leave it set out and it will
Yeah.
evaporate.
And if you're concerned about it, dig a well.
Well,
Not
you
in
can't.
town.
You can dig a well
I
in
know
town.
you can, but we have to put it for people.
But yeah, so like I said, if anybody asks you, tell them to go to the town's website. We put out a piece on there from our water superintendent explaining what we use in the water. It was rather about a page, a little over a page, of exactly what we use. We are required by the state to put something in to disinfect the water. We cannot, you know, and if you go back and look at all our tests that we've done, they're fine. Everything is 100% across the board where the limits are supposed to be.
If I can comment on some of those other options, you know, it does get down to the question of what is price reasonable. Disinfectants are the price reasonable issue. Something like UV is going to be extraordinary. It's nice for the rich people, but we're not going to be able to do that sort of thing. So
There have been complaints too that there's more of a chlorine taste to the water. Has there been any increase in the amount of chlorine used?
I have a pipe in my house and I've never noticed it.
I don't notice it in my house either, but I don't know end of the law.
Yeah.
I had that conversation because I don't like the smell of chlorine any more than anybody else. And the smell of chlorine is, quite frankly, what you're most likely reacting. This is what I was told. And when you first run your water in the morning, you let it run for a little bit and allow what happens overnight when the water sits, it basically starts to break out into gases. When you run your water initially, you can smell that chlorine, the gases in the water. If you ran your water a little bit, you won't get the smell, but you would actually have the chlorine in the water. So it's the smell actually is the pretty good sign that you're getting rid of the chlorine. If you're having a taste, it's actually something else that's in the water.
Is there any possibility that an article could be written for the Messenger saying exactly what you've said now? So that the greater public can read it and be reassured. First of all, what's used is a matter of public record, that it's tested on a regular basis, just to shut down the
Social media Social media did.
Well, but
It isn't going to shut down social media, but I think it's a good idea.
It won't do
Except
anything. You know,
except
there-
it gives people who aren't in that mindset the facts that can be used to argue for the town waters.
I think it's just gonna keep up, even if you do publish it, they're just gonna keep it going, trying to stain the Berkeley Springs Water Works water. Because they don't like the fact that there is disinfectant and put in the water. I can foresee in the future, you know, it being, no matter what you do, it's gonna be a question because they don't want it in there.
But it's state law. I mean, you have to.
Yeah,
Right.
we're required by
You
the
have to
state.
do something to get rid of the potential contaminants.
And it's state law, and be tested too, so I don't
Yeah.
understand, I don't understand. what
The
this-
testing is absolutely happening.
Yeah, the testing is also recorded on the website. Every year you have a consumer confidence report that gives you the amounts, and those can be found several years are located on the website.
And, you know, people are smart enough, especially, I would believe the person that started the whole thing was smart enough to go and look before they, you know, mean, you know, I mean, all you gotta do is go to the state and look at it because it's published for every water system in the state.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a matter of public record. All you need to do is go in there. You know, I've never actually Googled it, but I would imagine you could Google, you know, Town of Bath, Berkeley Springs water, and you're gonna have the specs probably come up to.
I believe one of those observations that was made by looking at those test reports was the fact that it simply said chlorine/chloramite. That was just if in effect, copy and paste. This is, it's one or the other. It's just it probably would have been nicer to just only have chlorine, right? But it's still, from the person who is an advocate or an activist, from the point of view of not wanting any kind of disinfectant, that really isn't going to make them happy in that regard. So that is, and I think that's basically what Scott is saying.
Yeah,
But I do like the idea of talking about it and providing that information. I'll give that one some thought on when to do it. I just don't particularly want to do that in December. Just because it's a holiday season.
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything? If not, I'll ask the council for common consent to adjourn.
So moved.